Welcome and thank you for joining today's Energy Workforce Enhancing Minority Businesses Participation in DOE's SBIR program. Before we begin, please ensure you have opened the Zoom chat panel by using the associated icon located at the bottom of your screen. To submit a written question, please select all panelists from the drop-down menu in the Zoom chat panel, type your question in the message box provided, and press enter on your keyboard to send it. All audio lines will remain muted until the Q&A session today. We will give you instructions on how to ask questions on the audio line at that time. With that, I'll turn it over to Vince Quarles, Deputy Director of the Office of Minority Programs in the Office of Economic Impact and Diversity. Vince, please go ahead.
Thank you, and good afternoon, and welcome to everyone. Thank you for making time to join today's webinar as we continue working to increase awareness, interest, and access to DOE's SBIR and STTR programs. I want to thank our guest presenters, along with everyone who worked very hard to coordinate today's event. It's truly my pleasure to now introduce Ms. Ann Augustine, who currently serves as the Acting Director and Principal Deputy Director of the Office of Economic Impact and Diversity. Ann joined our office in August of 2015 and has since led ED operations, including DOE's internal and external civil rights activities, equal employment opportunities, diversity and inclusion, minority education and community development, and minority business development. Prior to joining our office, Ann served as an attorney, an administrative judge, and the Chief of Personnel Security and Appeals Division at DOE's Office of Hearings and Appeals. In those capacities, Ms. Augustine conducted classified and unclassified hearings, issued agency decisions in cases involving DOE security clearances and contractor whistleblower complaints, and conducted high-profile management inquiries and fact-finding in sensitive cases, including many with EEO overturns. And thank you so very much for joining us here on today and all you do in support of our office and throughout the Department of Energy. Ms. Ann Augustine.
Thank you so much for those kind words, Vince. I very much appreciate it. And good afternoon, and thank you to everybody who's joining today's event. We truly appreciate your interest in learning more about the Department of Energy's Small Business Innovation Research and Small Business Technology Transition programs. It's our hope that today's webinar will arm you with useful information that will allow you to successfully pursue SBIR and STTR opportunities in support of the Department of Energy and in service to our nation. In addition to thanking Vince today, I want to also recognize Rodney Walters and Jamie Clanton for working so very hard to ensure that today's event is successful and of great interest for those of you who have joined us. We are so very fortunate to have three dynamic presenters with us today, and we thank each of them for their technical assistance and everything they do to support the minority business enterprises and small businesses. It is quite an honor for me to serve as the acting director and as my principal deputy director position for the Office of Economic Impact and Diversity within the Department of Energy. As an informational point, the Office of Economic Impact and Diversity was established as the Office of Minority Economic Impact in 1979. And one of our statutory missions is to increase minority participation in the energy sector programs, as well as enforcing the anti-discrimination statutes on a federal level. In accordance with the public law that established the Office of Minority Economic Impact, and that happened to be Public Law 95-619 for those of you who are interested, our Office of Minority Programs provides, among other things, technical assistance programs that encourages, promotes, and assists minority business enterprises in establishing and expanding energy-related business opportunities and related technologies. Given these statutory authorities and the emerging Biden administration priorities, We are extremely honored to host today's webinar, which is aimed at increasing minority business enterprise and minority-serving institutions' awareness and access to the Department of Energy's SBIR and STTR programs. Ms. Eileen Chant, who is the Program Manager at the Department of Energy's Office of SBIR and STTR programs, will review for you today the DOE requirements and approaching deadlines for submitting 2021 SBIR applications. Dr. Alice Prince, who is the CEO and President of Pathways United, will then share her observations from providing technical assistance to 23 minority businesses desiring to pursue DOE SBIR and STTR opportunities. And then our last presenter, rounding out, is Ms. Tamara Miles, who is the Deputy Director in the Office of Small Programs, Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization here at DOE. And she will present an overview of DOE opportunities extending beyond our SBIR and STTR programs. It is a real pleasure for me at this point to turn the virtual microphone over to Rodney Walters, who will briefly introduce our presenters. And I certainly hope that this is a valuable experience for you, and we are here to serve you as is our mandate and our role. But just don't be shy. Feel free to contact any of the presenters or Vince Quarles or Rodney should you have questions after this presentation. I'll turn this over now to Rodney. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ann and Vince, for all you do in ED. My name is Rodney Walters, and I'm the Senior Business Operations Specialist over the Workforce Division. I have the pleasure of introducing our three presenters today, so I will start with Ms. Eileen Chant. She's the new Outreach Program Manager at the U.S. Department of Energy Office of SBIR, STTR programs. She has over 25 years of diverse energy technology encompassing startup assistance, commercial and industrial equipment consulting, and nonprofit industry associations. She received her PhD in mechanical engineering from Georgia Institute of Technology. Welcome, Dr. Eileen Chant. Our next presenter will be Dr. Alice M. Prince. She's a proud native of St. Louis, Missouri, and in addition to her undergraduate and graduate degrees, Dr. Prince holds a doctorate in educational leadership. Presently, Dr. Prince is the CEO and President of Pathways United. She is passionate about helping her community and finding pathways to prosperity. Dr. Prince is the recipient of multiple prestigious awards. She is on the board of directors for Catholic Charities and a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Our next presenter is Tamara Miles, who is the Deputy Director of Small Business Programs for the Department of Energy, Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization, as of December 2020. She has a heart for small business concerns and is in charge with maximizing small business opportunities and contract awards. Prior to joining the OSDBU, Tamara served as the Assistant Director and Procurement Director at the DOE Environmental Management Consolidated Business Center and led the acquisition and management of multi-billion-dollar environmental cleanup contracts nationwide. Tamara has 20-plus years of federal government experience and is Level 3 certified under the Federal Acquisition Certification Program in Contracting and has held an unlimited contracting officer warrant. Welcome our presenters, and now I will turn it over to Dr. Eileen Chant.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm very happy to be here and to talk to you about the particulars of the DOE SBIR STTR programs. We're going to start by showing a very small, short 2-minute overview video of the DOE SBIR programs, and then I'm going to go into some slides to take a little bit of a deeper dive into the program.
The mission of the Department of Energy is to ensure America's security and prosperity by addressing its energy, environmental, and nuclear challenges through transformative science and technology solutions. There are 13 program offices within the Department of Energy that participate in the SBIR program, each of which released a list of topics based on their particular needs. The Department of Energy funds a fairly broad range of technologies, including but not limited to clean tech, renewables, efficiency, transportation, power grids, fossil fuels, nuclear fusion, scientific instrumentation, advanced computing, atmospheric monitoring, environmental monitoring, preventing nuclear proliferation, artificial intelligence, and quantum information sciences. The Department of Energy has a $300 million yearly SBIR STTR budget, awarded in the form of grants. The SBIR program issues 2 releases for Phase 1 funding every year, one in July and one in November. An SBIR Phase 1 award is for $200,000 to $250,000 over a 6 to 12 month timeline, with 350 to 400 awards given out in a typical year. Phase 2 awards are for $1.1 to $1.6 million over the course of 24 months, with an average of 160 awards given out a year, meaning that roughly 40 to 50% of Phase 1 awardees go on to Phase 2. For more information about the program, please visit the Department of Energy SBIR STTR website.
Okay, we're ready to get started. Again, I'm going to give an overview of the program, and I'm very happy to answer any questions that you have at the end of the session about the DOE's SBIR STTR program. So there are a variety of federal SBIR STTR programs. What is it? It's a $3.5 billion fund for early stage research and development for small businesses. It is basically the SBIR program is 3.2% of all the extramural R&D conducted by the federal government, and the STTR program is 0.45% of extramural R&D for some of the larger agencies, such as Department of Energy and the Department of Defense. The idea behind this is to fund, as a mechanism to fund very early stage, high risk innovation ideas that have the potential to have very high impact in terms of transforming technology. And for the Department of Energy, that's going to be technologies that are consistent with our mission. And these are ideas that are, like I said, very early stage. They're too high risk for the private sector. So that's a perfect space for the federal government to fund these early stage ideas and stimulate technological innovation that otherwise would not have a chance to move forward. And there are some definitions of small business. It has to be a business that's for profit with fewer than 500 employees, and it should be owned by one or more individuals who are citizens or permanent resident aliens in the United States. Just a little bit of history and overview of the programs. The SBIR program was established in 1982, so that makes it almost 40 years old at this point. It's been around for a long time. And the STTR program was established about 10 years later. There's a lot of similarities between the two programs, but one of the big differences is that the STTR programs are specific to the larger federal agencies. Not every agency has an STTR program, and it requires a nonprofit research institution partner, which would be a university or a federal lab or some other type of nonprofit research institution. Whereas the SBIR program does not require partnering with a research institution, but it does permit it. And then there's some specifics about the percentage of work that must be done by the small business. The grants are to the small businesses. They are not to the research institution, and the small business must do a certain amount, a percentage of the work. Just one other note about the STTR program is that it was originally intended to transfer technology, like from a national lab to a university, have the small business take it and develop it and turn it into something with commercial potential. But it worked over time, and the technology can also be developed in the small business, and you can still apply for an STTR grant. So here are the different agencies that participate in the SBIR, STTR budgets. We are not in competition with each other. I encourage you to look at all of the SBIR, STTR programs. The Department of Energy focuses on specific topics that are related to our mission, but there are many other SBIR programs for which you can investigate to see if it's a good fit with your research or the ideas that you're formulating right now for a commercial business. So here are the agencies. You can see the Department of Defense has the largest SBIR STTR program, with the Department of Health and Human Services being second, and the Department of Energy is the third largest. We spend over $300 million a year on these projects. And the initial phase 1 projects, there are typically about 400 awardees a year. And then it goes down from here, and you can see that NSF is the 4th largest, NASA is the 5th largest, and then the other smaller agencies are shown here below. Again, I think I mentioned before, the DOE funds topics that align with the DOE mission. So our topics are very, are mission focused, and they are very specific as well. What is the DOE mission? The DOE mission can be broken into 3 pieces, and everybody knows about the first piece, but please take note that there's more to us than that. We want to provide leadership in clean energy technologies. What are those areas? We have an Office of Electricity. We fund topics such as upgrading the electrical grid. We fund topics in energy efficiency and renewable energy, which probably is more familiar to people attending: solar topics, wind energy topics, biofuels, geothermal, and hydropower, and those types of things. We also fund topics in fossil energies, ways to make the fossil fuels that we continue to use at this time more efficient, less polluting, including carbon capture and sequestration technologies as well. And we fund topics in nuclear energy. But we also provide topics in basic science and engineering. And so these are the offices that fund those topics, and those are these are the needs that these basic energy science, biological and environmental research, fusion energy, high energy physics, and nuclear physics. These are technologies that they need to better do their R&D. So it might be a sensor that they need. It might be an instrument readout that is more sensitive. It might be advances in scientific computing, or also development of things for accelerators. And then finally, the DOE's mission includes enhancement of nuclear security, and we fund topics in defense, nuclear non-proliferation, as well as environmental management of the DOE weapons facilities that exist around the nation and require environmental attention. How does the SBIR STTR program work? I imagine that for this particular group, you'd probably be most interested in phase 1, which is the entry point into the SBIR STTR program. There's 2 opportunities a year to apply for grants. The DOE, we issue a funding opportunity in July, so there's one coming up, and then we release another funding opportunity in November. Again, the topics are very specific. When the topics come out, you need to go to our funding opportunity page and look and read the topics document and look and see if there's something that's a good fit with your expertise, your area of research, or the ideas that you have. The grants max out at either $200,000 or $250,000, depending on the topic. Each topic lists the maximum funding amount. And you can apply to conduct your research in a 6 to 12 month period. We give up to 400 awards per year. The awards are highly competitive. A good quality proposal is required, and about 26% of applicants succeed in the phase 1 process. Phase 1 is a feasibility evaluation. It's proving an idea that you may have. So very early stage, you have an idea, map out a plan, right, put that down in the proposal, and evaluate the feasibility if you win an award. If your feasibility evaluation goes well, you can apply for the phase 2 programs, which are shown here on the slide. And I won't go into too much detail about them. They're more money. They're over $1 million. They're 2 years in duration, and 40% of phase 1 awardees go on to get phase 2 awards. Okay, so we are going to have a July release, and these are more aligned around the basic energy science topics. And these are some of the offices. These are the offices that fund the basic energy topics: Advanced Scientific Computing Research, Basic Energy Science, the Office of Biological and Environmental Research, and the Office of Nuclear Physics. In November is our release 2, and we fund a whole bunch of other topics in November. Many of these, although not all of them, are more applied. You see a lot of the energy efficiency and renewable energy topics, improvements in fossil energy, etc. There's a link shown here on this page. If you go to the SBIR website and you click on the funding opportunities link, what's coming up is the fiscal year 2022 opportunities. So you can click on that tab on this page, and you can see that on July 12th is when the topics will be released. You go on that day, and the topics document will be shown. Right now it's blank because we haven't released it yet. This topics document will be here on that day, and you can go look and see the topics that are going to be funded. And then a whole bunch of things happen. You can apply for application assistance, which I'll show some more information about that. And we start a series of webinars. We want the program to be accessible to the small businesses, and we start a series of webinars to answer questions about the application process, about the topics, and about the funding opportunity. And so you have a letter of intent due a month and a half after the topics are issued. You do receive feedback on that letter of intent, and that you can use that feedback in order to, respond and craft your proposal. Quick check on time. We offer a fair amount of application assistance, and I really want to emphasize our application assistance program. Most popular is this Phase 0 program. You have to be a first-time DOE, SBIR, STTR applicant. It is free, and you receive a coach, and you have your hand held throughout a lot of the parts of the process, putting your project narrative together, doing your financials, preparing your letter of intent. You have to write up a little bit of a marketing plan, a very short one for phase 1. You do receive, you have a coach, you're talking to that person on the phone, and they're helping you through the process. So the Phase 0 program is, I think, a definite must if you're a first-time applicant. We do have a series of webinars. If you get on our mailing list, you'll be invited to all of those webinars. If you can see down here in the bottom right, on this is basically our home page. You can sign up for our mailing list. We have online learning center. We can watch videos which walk you through the application process. If you're interested in collaborating with the Department of Energy National Lab, we have a page that shows you the different areas of research and who you can reach out to at the labs to talk about your technology interests and discuss partnering. So here are a number of application resources. Again, I wanted to devote a slide to the Phase 0 Application Assistance Program. Please, if you're a first-time attendee, go on July 12th and apply to be part of the program. It's first come, first serve. It does fill up, but if you go pretty much right away on July 12th to apply, you should be, it should still be open. It's sometimes later in the process people are applying and then the program fills up. You will have a phone interview at that time to talk about your research idea, and they will advise you on whether or not you're a good fit with the program at that point and whether you're accepted in. Again, we highly encourage women, socially and economically disadvantaged and minority-owned businesses to take advantage of the service. We're very interested in applications from those demographics because they are underrepresented in the SBIR STTR program. Again, here's a little bit more about the phase 0. Here are all the different help assistance points. I think I've already talked about them. There's 5 registrations, online registrations you have to complete. They help you with that. Some of them take 6 weeks to complete, so you have to start them early, and they help you with all of that. Proposal prep, market research, proposal review, and then you can pick 1 or 2 of these optional services as well. This is what a topics document looks like. The topics document looks like, and it gives you some information about the maximum award amount. Don't go over that amount. Your proposal will be declined if you ask for more than the maximum phase 1 award amount. Is it participating in the SBIR and the STTR program? And then there is information about the topic, and then this A, novel cryogenic processes. Is a subtopic. You have to select a topic, and then you have to select a subtopic to pursue an application. You can communicate with the DOE program managers as soon as the topic document's open. You can email them and ask them questions. I have to honestly say there's a wide variety of responsiveness, but we do encourage you to reach out to them. Some of them are very busy, and this is a very small part of their job, while others are very responsive. Please reach out to them. And please get to know this whole research area. It's really highly recommended that you become an expert in the technology. And the topic provides you with a lot of references, and you should get to know all of the references that are in the topics document for the subtopic that you select. Once you go into the phase 1, you do have an awardee commercialization system for both phase 1 and phase 2. I won't go too into that. We have a lot of awardee programs. I just wanted to mention, once you're an awardee, you can receive commercialization assistance. For phase 1, you get $6,500 worth of support up and over and above that $250,000 number. What is the application review process like? There are 3 technical reviews, and then there's a commercialization plan as well, and that's for the phase 2 application. But the criteria for rating the proposal is the strength of the scientific approach, the ability of the team to execute the project, and the potential impact of the research of the idea. Most highly ranked applications are awarded based on available funding. We tend to have a number of applications that are recommended for funding or recommended for funding outstanding, then we rank them, and then based on funding, we decide we award the top tier of those applications. We have a new program that I wanted to highlight. This is one of my last slides. It's a phase 2 program. It's a diversity supplement, and this is seeking to improve the diversity of the research workforce by recruiting and supporting both undergraduate and graduate students from groups that are underrepresented in these programs. So you have to team with a phase 2 awardee, and if there's any students out there, you would have to team with a phase 2 awardee and help, you could put together the application together. The application is pretty straightforward and pretty short. We tried to make it that way. And you would spend a summer, the second summer of the phase 2 award, working at the small business and conducting the research. The funding opportunity announcement has more detailed information. Okay, so this is just a map of the commercialization path. Phase 1 is proof of concept. Phase 2 is moving on to prototyping, marketing, intellectual property, and commercialization. And these are all the support programs that we provide along the way, and I've touched on most of them during my talk. And my last slide is to just say thank you for attending and listening. And here's a few reminders. Get on our mailing list. You can always email us with any questions. Check out our Phase 0 program and check out our Learning Center. So thank you very much. And I look forward to answering questions. Okay, I'm going to unshare. I'm going to unshare my screen. Great. Thank you. And now I'm introducing Dr. Alice Prince of Pathways United, who's going to talk about her experiences working with the Office of ED. And welcome, Alice.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Chant. You really shared a lot of information that I know our participants are very excited for. So I appreciate you and I thank you. We have worked with the Department of Energy and it has just been amazing. Your Phase 0 program has been amazing. I'm looking to have some of our participants that we work with go into that Phase 0 program. So our program is almost like a pre-Phase 0 program. And what I want to talk to you about today is some of the things that we've learned on this journey. Working with the Department of Energy, let me just say it's not easy, but it's worthwhile. It's worthwhile because you have an opportunity to build your community. You have an opportunity to change the trajectory of your own generational curses, whether it be poverty to prosperity, whether it be education and making sure Black and brown people and women really get into sciences. You have that opportunity with working with the Department of Energy. And so I just want to talk to you about some gems that I've learned on my journey. And some of the more important elements that we're going to discuss is understanding that solicitation, not being intimidated by the 70-page technical worded solicitation, but really understanding that. Know what that means to pick a topic, picking a topic that you're passionate about, picking a topic that you're an expert in. Registering for all the databases. I'm going to talk about all the databases, doing some of this prep work because the proposal in itself is a beast. So you want to make sure that you do this prep work. Understanding acronyms and what an LOI is and a letter of intent, because the Department of Energy, it's really unique that you need to submit a letter of intent prior to writing a proposal, which is a good thing. And it's another database to register for, which we'll talk about. And then we'll talk about some successful strategies in writing the proposal, the submission process. I'm going to give you some pitfalls, and then I'm going to share some more success strategies. So understanding this solicitation. First and foremost, do not be intimidated. Do not look at the solicitation and just turn your screen off. Don't do it. Read the entire funding opportunity. Read it very well. Read it 2 and 3 times. Take it to bath with you, while you're sitting back relaxing. Have that solicitation there, right there, reading everything. And then begin to understand the technical language. Technical language is really a different language. So again, do not get intimidated, do not get frustrated, because the language, they're scientists, so they don't write emotional. They write very technical. And if you've never read a technical proposal, sometimes it could be a bit intimidating, but do not get intimidated. Just read a little slower, do some annotation, do some highlighting, write some notes, read the references, but keep going. And then you want to view the webinars. DOE has amazing webinars. When you go to that website that Dr. Chant talked about, you will see a ton of pre-recorded webinars. They will have webinars. Subscribe to their mailing list. Make sure you jump on every webinar. You view them a couple of times. Great information, a lot of information. But when you are trying to change the world, right, there is a lot of information that's needed. And first and foremost, do not give up. Do not get discouraged. What I really like about working with DOE is that you can pick up the phone and call them, that you can send them an email. Somebody will respond to you. If you cannot get into a database or if you're having technical difficulties, even up at the last minute, someone will try their best to assist you. I'm a witness to it. So picking a topic, what are you passionate about? What are you interested in? What are you an expert in? I had a client who was passionate about hair, but she was also passionate about the environment. And I had no idea that she spoke to trees. That's what she told me. She was like, I'm a tree whisperer. I love grass. I love trees. And on her day job, she is an environmental reviewer. And these are the things that she's passionate about. So don't apologize for being a dynamic person and have multiple journeys and you're passionate about multiple different things. Don't apologize for that. Read the resources. DOE does a great job at when they put their solicitation out, they also put references at the bottom of the topics. And so make sure you go and you read those resources. Read the resources. A lot of the scientists, the program managers have written works of art. They've written works that have been published. Go read what they've been published so that you will definitely see and gain more knowledge about about the subject matter. Reach out to the program manager. They give you their phone number, they give you their email address, reach out to them. And if they don't call you back within 24 hours, chill out. Call them back. Email them again. Do not get discouraged. Do not give up. Do not say, oh, they just don't want to talk to me. That's not the case at all. They do want to talk to you. It's just 1,000 other people just like you wanting their time, but they will Zoom with you, or they will Microsoft Teams with you, or they will email you. They will call you back. So make sure that you are absolutely doing your best to put your best foot forward to find out more about the topic and if your idea fits inside that topic. And then find partners. We are not an expert in everything. My grandmother used to always tell me you could be a jack of all trades and a master of nothing. So it's cool to collaborate. It's cool to find partners. And that is the beauty of this work when we do community building. Register for the databases. So I'm going to give you my top 5 databases that you need to register for. By all means, this is not an inclusive list, but these are the top 5. So once you get off of this webinar, if you have not registered for these top 5 databases in preparation for the July 1st or the July solicitation date, make sure you do it. Register for PAMS, register for grants.gov, register for SAMS.gov, register for the SBIR/STTR, and register for Fed Connect. And you may say, well, Alice, you don't have other than SAMS.gov and grants.gov, you don't have the website address. You're right, I don't. But let me tell you, if you go to the DOE's website, the website that was in Dr. Chant's deck, all of these websites will be right there prominent. Also, you can also Google register PAMS DOE. They're going to take you to it. You can Google register SBIR/STTR DOE. It'll take you right to it. You can Google register Fed Connect. It's going to take you right to it. And then all you have to do in your browser is put in grants.gov and SAMS.gov. Believe me, Registering for all of these databases, some are easier than others, but registering for all of these databases will take the headache. We'll take the headache out of it when it's time for you to actually start writing your proposal. You will already have all of this done. So absolutely register for the databases. Register for the databases. Say it with me. Register for the databases. LOI. LOI is the letter of intent, no more than 2 pages. Use technical assistance to help you. LOI is where you're able to say, this is my idea. Will it fit? Is it going to be responsive? Does my idea fit into your topic? Does my idea solve your topic's problem? This is the LOI. This is when you can really just kind of get real with yourself. And if you can't write 2 pages about your idea, then that's when we need to be thinking about some other things, right? But if you can write 2 pages about your idea, you want to submit it, and you have to submit it through PAMS. If for some reason PAMS is not working for you, please use technical assistance. PAMS has a technical assistance email address. They are very responsive. They will get back with you for you to upload it, because you have to upload the LOI before you're able to do the proposal. I'm going to say that again. You have to upload an LOI, a letter of intent, before you're able to write the proposal. The other SBIRs and STTRs that, Eileen, Dr. Chant mentioned prior to me coming up, they don't require LOI. The Department of Energy requires a LOI. It's a letter of intent. It gives them heads up, like, hey, I plan to submit a proposal, and here is my planned idea. Now, here's the thing about this LOI. You will get a response, or you may not get a response. Now, no news is good news. I'm going to say that again. No news is good news. If 3 weeks or so go by and you haven't heard anything from the Department of Energy, like, that's good news. Celebrate that. Go have, some wine or something like that. Celebrate that. But if you you may get an email that says, you know what? Thank you for submitting, but your idea is non or unresponsive. Still go get that wine. But it's not over. Don't give up. Find out why they said that it's unresponsive. Set up a meeting immediately with their program manager and say, and get their feedback. They will talk to you. They will tell you what the feedback is. And it could be a situation where you didn't explain your full idea enough for them to say, this is responsive. And so you have that opportunity. But guess what? Even if you talk to the program manager or don't get in touch with the program manager, you can still submit your proposal. Even if they say that it is unresponsive, and they'll give you reasons why. As long as you address those reasons in your proposal, you can still submit your proposal. So, like, my number 2 things, I got 2 major things that I want to employ with you today. And one is, do not give up. Never give up. You keep going. Well, one was never give up. 2 was keep going. Same difference. Just put them together. Do not give up and keep going. Okay, so writing this proposal. Oh, it's a beast. It is absolutely a beast, and that's why you need to have a writing calendar. And you need to make sure that you are organized. You need to make sure that you stick to this date. You need to make sure that you discipline, that you demonstrate discipline. But just know you can do it, and you keep telling yourself you can do it. And this is why I believe signing up for phase 0 is so important, because they do give you a one-on-one coach. Again, my program pretty much deals with a pre-phase 0. So if you're not quite ready for phase 0, but phase 0 does allow you, it gives you that comfort in working with people who have worked with people who have been through that SBIR, STTR program. But build yourself a writing calendar. Organize everything that you need. Start understanding the budget and the partners and any letters of support that you want to get. Understand all of that. And then begin to write in sections. You're going to have to write an abstract. You're going to have to write a summary. You're going to have to write a commercialization plan. And oh yes, you're going to have to write a big technical proposal. You're going to have to do all of that. So begin to write your proposal in sections. I always say an inch is a cinch and a yard is hard. The last thing that I would tell you to do is follow the directions exactly. I had a couple of clients that I was working with, and one I used to tell all the time, stop remixing the directions. When DOE says, I want it this way, that means give it to me specifically how I want it. So, for example, if they tell you, if DOE in the proposal, which it does, it says write a summary, stick to this amount of pages, and save it as summary, SUMMARY. That means save it as SUMMARY, not SUMMARY underscore abstract or underscore pathways united or underscore any other thing that you wanted to do. Follow the directions exactly how it is outlined in the proposal. They do a great job with making it very clear. They've written it very clear. And so following those directions, and that's why it's really important to continue to read the solicitation multiple times so that you're very well aware and astute to the directions that's given in the Department of Energy's solicitation. Submissions. Upload your file. Begin uploading your file early. This past solicitation, SAMS.gov sent out a message to everybody saying, hey, we're going to be doing some maintenance. And it's like, oh my God, you're doing maintenance at the time I'm supposed to upload this grant. But anything can happen. Your power could go out. Wi-Fi could go out. Anything could absolutely happen. So once you finish your when you start writing in sections and you finish your section, make sure you upload and begin the uploading process early. It takes a long time to upload all those documents because you have to make sure you upload them in the correct sections, and you're uploading them to grants.gov. So if you have never uploaded a grant to grants.gov before, there is a learning curve. You can do it. You can learn it. You're smart. You already have what it takes, but there's a learning curve with every database. So make sure you begin uploading your documents early so that you can get really familiar with that database. I'm going to say it again, follow the directions exactly as they're outlined and do your best to submit early, a day or two, just so that there will be no technical difficulties. You don't want to spend 6 months working on a project, right? And having this idea and really, manifesting all of this and then not be able to submit. So submit early. Some of the pitfalls. Now, listen to me. Miss deadlines is a pitfall. Do not miss deadlines. That's why I always set deadlines early. Lack of writing organization. Already come in with a work plan. Come in writing. Come in knowing, like, no matter what happens from 3 to 6, on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I am dedicating that to writing. Or no matter what happens on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 5 to 7 p.m., I'm blocking everything out and I am going to write. I'm going to have everything available with me. Lack of partners. Remember, you can't do it all. You don't want to do it all. You want to do and be the expert in what you're the expert in. And collaboration is truly the best way to look at these types of projects. So look for partners. I've had clients find partners in California and in Detroit and in and even out of the country. Find partners to help you do what you want, what you need to do. Uploading documents. Not having documents organized, not uploading the correct document to the correct section, and not having those documents labeled appropriately. Remember the example that I gave you about summary. That is a real life example. I am not making up any examples to prove my point. I am telling you everything 100% real examples. Summary, that's a real thing. They're going to ask you to write a summary, and they only want you to name it summary. They want you to save it on your computer as summary, and they want you to upload that document as summary. And so making sure that you are uploading in the correct sections. The solicitation is big, but it's very clear, and it will have all of it outlined for you. And exact means exact. Understanding that what they put on in the solicitation, that's exactly what they want. You don't have to go over and beyond. They don't want any extra. What they put is exactly what they want. So understanding that solicitation is very important. So some of the success strategies that I like to talk about is staying positive. Not negating that things will happen, that you will have setbacks, but we know every setback there is a set up for a comeback. So make sure you are staying positive throughout the whole situation. And even if you are explaining your idea to someone and they don't understand it, you keep going, because not everybody's going to understand your vision. Not everybody's going to have the same passion as you. You are innovators, right? And so you are inventing the next big thing. You are inventing the next big thing that's going to change the trajectory of our community. So not everybody's going to see that vision. You can cast your own vision. You don't need validation from anybody else. You need to continue with your vision and know that in continuing with that vision, there will be provision for your vision. So continue to have that growth mindset. Continue to think positive. Persevere and push through any technical difficulties that you're having. We always told our clients to make sure you have the numbers and the email addresses for all the databases. So when you're writing and when you're having technical difficulties, everything is right there. Be consistent with your writing. Be disciplined with your writing. Stay organized with your password. Every time I give a webinar to my clients, I always say, have your password three places. One in your computer on the cloud. Old school notebook. Y'all see this? And I also keep it on my phone. So I always have my passwords. And when you have to update the password, because in a governmental database, they're going to ask you to do like 12 characters, and you're not going to be able to do your dog's name. I have a doggy named Secret, and they're like, no, you can't use your dog's name. You can't use your address. You can't use your mama's birthday, right? You got to use all of these strange different characters. So it's not anything that you're going to be able to remember. But every time you use a different password or you update that password, make sure you update it in all your records so that you can keep that going. The next thing is use technical assistance. Like, they know what they're talking about. They are smart. They've been here. They've done that before. And definitely use technical assistance. Call on DOE. And so I want to thank you for being here with us today. It is not by accident that you are here. And I would love for you to continue on with this journey. And so now I have the distinct honor and pleasure of introducing you to Deputy Director Miles. Deputy Director Miles, it is now in your hands.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Dr. Prince. What a wonderful dynamic presentation where you provided so many practical, useful nuggets of information that I truly believe that the audience is going to benefit from. A lot of what you said, I'm going to be expounding upon a little bit, and so look forward to doing that for sure. But before I get started in providing some highlights from the Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization, I wanted to take the opportunity to thank the host of this event. the Office of Economic Impact and Diversity. When I got the invitation to participate in this, I jumped at the chance. I certainly, as my bio noted, have a heart for small business, and I am really excited to speak with you individuals that are on the phone or on the Zoom meeting. My name is Tamara Miles, as noted. I'm the Deputy Director of Small Business Programs at DOE. I am new to this role, but certainly not new to engaging with small businesses. I'm going to kind of get through this presentation pretty quickly because I know that we're short on time and I want to be able to answer your questions. So just the overview, next slide, kind of shows some of the things that I'm going to be talking about here today. And so we'll get to those one by one. In terms of OSTBU, our mission, and OSTBU, that's kind of a tough acronym to use, but you can also refer to our office as the Small Business Office. We have quite a mission. Next slide, and wanted to talk with you a little bit about that and our strategic objectives. So in a nutshell, our mission is to maximize contracting opportunities for small businesses while also advancing the agency's vast mission. To achieve that objective, we have some strategic strategies that we use. First, we have a big goal of making it easier to do business with DOE. I know Dr. Prince noted that it's not easy, but it's worth it, and we're endeavoring each day to make it easier. So certainly look forward to your feedback on how to do that as we move forward as an agency. A second objective is to maximize small business opportunities by cultivating more productive relationships with internal stakeholders. And what I mean by that is, OSTBU is but one office within this Department of Energy. It's just a mammoth of an organization. And we have to work very closely with the program offices like Office of Science that Dr. Chant is representing here this afternoon, ED that hosted this event. So it's very important for us to be able to collaborate effectively, understanding what the mission needs are and how we can partner with one another to provide you maximum opportunities. So that's a big objective of ours, and the reason why we participate in events like this. And then thirdly, we have a big objective to maximize small business awards to socioeconomic categories of small businesses. Those specifically are women-owned small businesses, service-disabled, veteran-owned small businesses, historically underutilized business zones, and small disadvantaged businesses. We don't always meet those goals on an annual basis for those categories established by the Small Business Administration, or SBA, but we are endeavoring to do much better in that regard as we go forward, certainly under the current administration's objective to diversify the supplier base. Next slide. So, DOE's commitment to small business is absolutely clear in my view. So in terms of FY20 performance, which we currently are really, in terms of reporting out on, we're still in FY21. We're making that sausage right now. So the data that we have to go over is FY20 data. And for FY20, we have exceeded the Small Business Administration's goals that were established for DOE in terms of prime contracts and subcontracts awarded to small business. That achievement notes the highest obligations that we have made to small businesses to date. DOE is among the largest procurement bases in the federal government, i.e., our spend or our obligations compares with, some of the really large departments, such as Department of Defense, which is, the largest of all the procurement bases. In terms of performance for FY20, we awarded $8.6 billion to small businesses. And of that $8 billion, it was divided amongst prime contract awards and first-tier subcontracts under our management and operating contracts. $5 billion went there. And then the remaining $3.6 billion went to small businesses under subcontracts, under the major contracts. So with that, it shows that 1 out of 4 contracting dollars is going to small business in the Department of Energy. And that is significant. And what makes it even more impressive is these numbers that I just mentioned to you, it doesn't include the grants, that Dr. Chant described earlier. Financial assistance grants, cooperative agreements, non-appropriated funds. There are several categories of spending that DOE does that the Small Business Administration doesn't include in our scorecard, but we're certainly making lots of inroads in terms of supporting small businesses and in R&D that this webinar is focused on. So I did want to make note of that. And before moving on, I also wanted to note, just to give you a little bit of a breakdown for our performance for FY20 for these socioeconomic categories. So again, I'm referring to the $8.6 billion. So of that amount, $1.7 billion went to small disadvantaged businesses. And amongst that category are 8A companies. 1.1 billion went to women-owned small businesses, and 424 million went to service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses, and then finally a little over 300 million went to hub zones, which are the historically underutilized business zones. So, that's a lot of money that's going to those socioeconomic categories, but we certainly, as I noted, endeavor to do more going forward. Next slide, we're going to talk about, how those billions of dollars are spent. And this slide represents that information with regard to NAIDS codes. So NAIDS codes are basically how the federal government identifies various industry sectors. So it's the North American Industry Classification System. And the RFPs or solicitations that go out, they designate what the NAIDS code is for that requirement. And NAIDS codes carry with them a certain size standard that helps to decide whether or not you would be eligible to participate in that procurement. So in terms of the top 5 NAIDS codes for prime and subcontracting, those are listed on the slide here. So for prime contracts in FY20, most of the obligations went towards remediation services. And so we have an Office of Environmental Management that I actually worked for last year up until the end of the year, and we awarded many new, very large environmental cleanup contracts last year that allowed, that number to go up significantly and making it the most used NAICS code for the year for the department. Take note of the subcontracting opportunities as well. Much of the spend that's going to small business is under subcontracting. So this is just the top 5, areas where we're buying goods and services. But, it's with the vastness of DOE's mission, as you saw with the video earlier, there are a lot of different industry sectors that we are supporting in terms of buying goods and services. And so if you go to the OSTABU website, which I have in one of the subsequent slides, you'll get a more in-depth list of the NAICS codes that the department is using to buy goods and services. Next slide. So, as certainly was noted, there are many steps in doing business with the government, and it is no exception for DOE, but there also are many tools to help you to navigate what can sometimes be, certainly initially, a very complex process. So wanted to go through some of these resources in the next several slides here that will include websites that will help you to be able to access the information a little bit better. So the first 2 items here on this slide reference small business development centers. SBA has some in various areas across the country. And there's also, separate from SBA, there are centers that provide some of the same services. They're called PTACs, Procurement Technical Assistance Centers. And basically what they do is they help you to understand how to do business with the government, help you to get started, help you to understand how to write proposals. There's all kinds of training and development opportunities and resources that they'll provide you at those 2 centers, and they're in your local area. If you go to the website, you'll be able to learn more about where they're located. If we go back really quickly, I wanted to cover a few things on that slide. It's also important to make sure in doing business with the government, you have to follow certain steps. If we could go back to the prior slide, please. You've got to make sure that you have a DUNS number. So that's something that you have to secure. You need to figure out what NAICS codes you're going to support. And those will help you to target your efforts in terms of what solicitations that you would propose against. Also making sure that, as Dr. Prince noted, you're going to need to register in SAM. And that's the website to register to do a business with the government across the board. So the sam.gov website is very critical starting point in doing business with the government. So, taking those steps that I just noted in terms of just getting in the game, there are best practices to supporting the Department of Energy, and not really the Department of Energy. I mean, these best practices apply with doing business across the federal government, or likely, out in the marketplace as well, and marketing to other businesses or entities. So first, you've got to do your homework. You've got to do your research. Understand what the agency, what DOE is buying, where we're buying it, understand the acquisition forecasts that are available, and I've got some links to that in this presentation. The acquisition forecasts identify upcoming requirements. It may be in the form of a list of all the current expiring contracts, and you can see, okay, if that contract's expiring, then let me inquire with the CO, or the small business program manager if it's being recompeted. What's the next step with that? And so take a look at the acquisition forecasts that we have on DOE's website to get a better understanding of what opportunities are available, not only for prime contracts, but we have links to some of our major M&O and facility management contracts, so you can see their subcontract opportunities as well. And then, of course, you need to figure out if you need certain certifications, if you need certain security or safety classifications. Make sure you understand what the credentials are to be able to effectively respond to solicitations. And then, as Dr. Prince also noted, it's very important to target your efforts. We can't really be a jack of all trades. We're going to fall down somewhere, and especially when you're getting started, you're going to want to focus your efforts. If you want to diversify, that's something you can do later, but going into it, I would hone in on what your strengths are and focus there. And even, just to get some work under your belt, perhaps you want to pursue some of the lower dollar requirements to, some of the less complex requirements to kind of build that past performance, get your feet wet with what's going on, and go on to bigger and better things as you go forward. It's a great opportunity when you can participate in outreach events like this. It's also a really good opportunity to respond to sources sought notices. In my prior life as a procurement director, we started every acquisition. It's a requirement to start every acquisition with market research. And so we go out into the market. DOE has a small business first policy. So when we go out into the market issuing a sources sought, or you may hear it referred to as an RFI, a request for information, we're saying, hey, industry, we've got this requirement. We define it in summary, and then we ask for industry, in particular small business, to look at the requirement and then submit a capability statement to let us know whether or not you can fulfill the requirement. It's very important that you have high quality capability statements, and you can work with the SBA, centers as well as the PPACs to help prepare those capability statements. You can also speak in my office about it as well. So make sure you've got a really robust capability statement. Submit them. I mentioned we've got the small business first policy, so we are wanting to set aside contracts for small business, where we can. So if we don't have enough, information from industry, from small businesses to be able to ascertain that there are indeed 2 or more small businesses that could do this work, or even better yet, there are 2 or more women-owned or service disabled or, small disadvantaged businesses, hub zones, we're going to go there. But we have to have information from you to be able to justify those procurement strategies. So when you see, opportunities to respond to departmental needs for contracts, use the sources sought or the RFIs, and then you've already learned about how to do it through the SBIR process. And then once solicitations are issued, a lot of times, the different programs will have industry days. They'll have pre-solicitation conferences. They'll provide you opportunities to do one-on-one meetings with the acquisition team, the contracting officer. I would highly encourage you to attend those industry day events and register for a one-on-one to talk with the acquisition team. That's going to give you an opportunity to talk about, your view of the solicitation. Is the evaluation criteria that's being used to say a competitive solicitation, is it any way, preventing, is it too complex? Is it restricting competition in any way? Comment on those things. The department takes those comments very seriously, and that's the whole point of issuing a draft RFP. We want industry feedback before we issue the final RFP. And it's in that draft RFP phase that the department can be very transparent. We can have an open dialogue. But once you get to the final RFP stage, that open dialogue really gets shut down, because at that point, we have to make sure that everything that we say to prospective offerors, it has to be shared with everybody. So we can't have that exchange, that we have pre-award or RFP release once the RFP is issued. So your time to be able to perhaps influence an acquisition, a solicitation, is going to be before the final RFP is issued. So take advantage of those opportunities when you get them. And use your resources. I talked about the PTACs and the SBA, for preparatory centers. Use those. Partner with other small businesses. You can also partner with large businesses to approach requirements. We have a great program within the OSTABU that we manage. It's called the Mentor Protege Program. It's where you can get hooked up with a large company that has lots of past performance, lots of experience, and they would be able to provide you sole source contracts that you don't have to compete for if you're designated to be one of their proteges. And so you have to be able to present to those, mentors, a solid value proposition as to why they would bring you on their team. But those are the things that you need to prepare to do to continue to get opportunities to work with DOE. That's one avenue. So I would encourage you to look into the MPP program. Another avenue in terms of resources, all across the country, we have what are called small business program managers. So there are local advocates for small business at the various, sites. And on our website, we have a list of all the small business program managers. So if you go to that site and you see their requirements and you think that you have a skill set or capability to fulfill them, I highly encourage you to contact one of the SBPMs at that site. And you want to contact my office as well, letting them know that you're interested so they can see what they can do about providing you information on upcoming opportunities. So certainly use your resources. These best practices, as I said, don't only apply to DOE, they apply to doing business with any federal agency. Next slide. In terms of locating opportunities, I talked about the DOE forecast. There's the website for it. It'll link you to the various upcoming opportunities, not only for prime, but there's also a space there where you can see subcontracting. Fed Connect, Dr. Prince mentioned Fed Connect. There's the address. Go to Fed Connect. That site shows opportunities across the federal government. Beta.sam also has information regarding opportunities. GSA, EBI, that's another avenue to pursue opportunities. Getting a GSA schedule is a game changer for small businesses. So I highly encourage you, as you prepare and develop, get to a place where you can get a GSA schedule. That's going to open up a whole nother realm of opportunity for you. The federal government is very big on category management, which is aggregating requirements, and GSA schedules are one way that we use to get better pricing on some of those aggregate requirements. So getting onto GSA and being able to compete amongst those schedule holders is going to be critical for your success and sustainability. There's a grants website that's also important. I also provided the website for the SBIRs that we talked about. And then lastly, I want to talk a little bit about the Supply Chain Management Center. And so the Supply Chain Management Center is DOE's answer for strategic sourcing. Well, I'll say in part the answer for strategic sourcing. So this is, again, a method that we use to aggregate the requirements across the agency's enterprise for goods and services, commodity agreements, various things that the Supply Chain Management Center has that that companies compete for that work across the enterprise. So I would encourage you to reach out to the Supply Chain Management Center, get registered in their vendor database so that you can be considered for some of those opportunities to provide goods and services across the DOE enterprise. Next slide. And this next one, these are just more websites. I know I'm killing you with all this information, but hopefully you'll have some time to go back to it and really hone in on some of these resources. There's our website. There's a link to the SCPMs that I noted earlier that will be your local advocates. There's websites that SBA has established, as well as the VA for the various social and economic programs, so you can get a better understanding of what those are and how you can maybe qualify for those. There's the two websites for the SBA and the PTACs in terms of the development centers. Also wanted to make you aware of, in terms of contracts, you may have an idea, that you would want to propose to the department, but you haven't seen a solicitation or a funding opportunity, announcement coming out of science, but you really think that this could be something that the DOE could benefit from. Well, we do have a way to address those things, and it's called the Unsolicited Proposal Program. And so if you have a bright idea that you don't see that we've already captured as a requirement and solicited, you can contact that office and they'll consider your requirement. Additionally, if you see RFPs for prime contracts that we are competing, and you're looking at the RFP, and you've talked with the contracting officer, you've gone to the one-on-one sessions, and you've provided feedback on the RFP, yet you still feel like the RFP is unduly restrictive of competition, we want to know about it in OSTBIB. And so if you go to our website, you'll see where you can provide us notification of a solicitation that you believe is unduly restricting competition, and we will certainly look into that. So moving on to the next slide, I just wanted to provide some information on upcoming events, which can be, great opportunities to also learn how to, do business with the various departments, as well as, importantly, networking. And I know networking may be a little more difficult in a virtual platform that we're relegated to at this point, but I still think there are great opportunities to engage with the various agencies. In May and in June, the DOE OSTBIB is going to be supporting a few events where we're doing matchmaking and having one-on-one sessions for companies that register to speak with us. So I highly encourage you to participate in some of these outreach events that various entities, even outside of the agencies, are hosting for small business. So definitely, and take advantage of those things, where you can. You can go to the OSTBIB website that I provided on the prior slide, and we have a calendar of events, and that will give you more information about upcoming events in future months and years. In addition to that, I also wanted to just clearly make note that while I definitely referred you to the PTACs and the SBA, centers of development. Next slide. DOE in my office, we do provide, individual tailored, customer care for small businesses. So, to the extent that you feel like you would like to speak with us one-on-one, help you to be able to navigate, the DOE and working with the DOE, we're more than happy to sit down with you. So please do take advantage of that offering as well. You can contact us through the website, and we will certainly be getting back with you. I think Dr. Prince noted, and I appreciated that, DOE does pick up the phone. OSTBIB will pick up the phone, we'll answer the email, and we'll do all we can to aid you in your endeavors. And so in closing, I wanted to, last slide, provide my contact information as well. You're certainly welcome to reach out to me directly to get more information on working with OSTBIB. And then next slide, please. Also ask that, just to foot stomp again, the prior presenter, just, stay encouraged, stay positive, be relentless, use your resources, because I do think in the end there is a lot of, money that the federal government is putting on contracts that we're buying goods and services, hundreds of billions of dollars. And so I would certainly like to see you all get your share, but it's going to take effort. It's going to take work. And the OSCW is here to support you every step of the way. So I certainly appreciate the time to speak with you this afternoon. And at this point, I'll turn it over to Rodney, and we're going to be taking some questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Deputy Director Miles. Thank you, Dr. Prince, and thank you, Dr. Chant. Those were some good presentations, and I'm giving everyone a virtual clap. Thank you so much. All right, now we will open up our questions and answer session. Saqib will be our moderator. Saqib.
To submit a written question, please select all panelists from the drop-down menu in the Zoom chat panel. Type your question in the message box provided and press enter on your keyboard to send it. If you'd like to ask your question on the audio line, please click on the raise hand icon at the bottom of the Zoom window. When your line is unmuted, you will be notified, at which time please state your name and your question. Thank you. So while the questions come into the queue, we already have some. One of the main questions was asked by several questions, and I'll just ask this once, and I believe if you respond to it, everybody will know the answer to this. Will a recording of this webinar be sent out afterwards? Also, will all the slides be available to download?
Yes, we will get with each presenter in regards to sharing the presentation, and we will work to post the recording as soon as possible.
Okay. Next question is, do the funded topics for leadership in science assist with veteran business startup operations, specifically funding only, or are other resources included too?
Repeat the question again, because it came in kind of muffled.
Okay. The question is, do the funded topics for leadership in science assist with veteran business startup operations, specifically funding only, or are other resources included too?
Yes, I would defer this question to Dr. Chant.
No, I don't. I read that question, and I apologize. I'm not exactly sure what you're referring to. You do say something about topics, but I did actually, because I am new to the DOE, I did actually review one of the recent topics documents, because I didn't see any topic that matched with what you're talking about with leadership in science. So maybe you're talking about a different program. I apologize, but within the DOE SBIR STTR program, I haven't seen topics. That we do have some educational training type of and workforce development topic. That's the closest thing I can think of.
I would say for you to go to the veterans website and see if they have any resources out for you, because it looks like you are definitely interested in getting some assistance with startup costs as a veteran. And so what you want to think about is making sure that once you're certified as a veteran, so begin to look into that process of being a certified veteran, and then talk with them about any other type of resources that they will be able to assist you with in terms of startup costs for your business. They may have more opportunities for that, for your veteran startup cost. So go to the veterans website.
And this is Tamara. I like to just expound upon that a little bit too, by just noting that, we do work a lot with the VA and other stakeholders in terms of providing support to veterans, including training, funding, various items. So I just ask that you reach out to me, and we can certainly connect to provide you access to some of those resources.
Okay. With that, there are no further questions in either queue. at this time. Once again, folks, please to submit a written question for the panelists. Please be sure to select all panelists from the drop-down menu in the Zoom chat panel. Type your question in the message box provided and press enter on your keyboard to send it. If you'd like to ask your question on the audio line, please click on the raise hand icon at the bottom of your Zoom window. If you happen to just be calling in using a telephone line, however, please press #2 on your telephone keypad at this time to ask your question on the audio line. Thank you. Does not look like there are any further questions at this time. It looks like we have something coming. Okay, here's the question. Can you advise when the next general SBIR STTR webinar will be?
Well, for phase 1, which is the entry point into the SBIR STTR program, we will have a webinar immediately after the July 12th topic opens. That will be our first webinar. Now, it's a lengthy process. There's several months from the time the topic is released until you write your proposal. And we have, in addition to covering the topics, Q&A on the topics, Q&A on the funding opportunity document, we have a weekly Q&A webinar where anyone can call in and ask us any questions. They are an hour long, they are weekly, and there's a lot of great participation, and we answer all the questions. Additionally, I did want to mention that I did include an email address on my slides, and you will all be receiving copies of the slides. We do answer every question that comes into that email address and we try to reply within 24 hours unless it's a more complex question. But we do, we pride ourselves on our responsiveness to the questions that come in.
Okay. With that, there's a question that's just come in. Can you share when that webinar is, or is the schedule posted online?
You should go to the funding opportunities page, which is shown, that link is shown on my slides. We're science.ospi.gov/SBIR, and you can click on funding opportunities. But the webinar will be approximately a week after July 12th, but we don't have it posted right now.
Okay. Next question is, what are the steps to speaking with the program manager regarding the denial of a grant application?
So you're not talking about the LOI submission, the non-responsive, you're talking about not receiving the award. And I guess I have to punt a little bit on this question because I am very new to the program and I'm not sure of the answer to that. I would like you to actually send an email to the email address that's in my slides and we'll answer the question for you.
Okay. At this time, we do have a question on the audio line.
Okay.
Caller, your line is unmuted. Please go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to say that this webinar was very exciting and engaging and was full of gold nuggets. So thank you for your time. I'm a veteran and a student and was wondering, do you think it would be better for an early idea business to look into some of the phase 0 opportunities or like the early phase 1s for like the SBIR, or try and collaborate with the institution and try and get the project started from that point?
I would say it depends on what you're trying to do, what your idea is. You want to, the purpose of phase 1 is to investigate the feasibility of an idea you have. And one of the things I would suggest is go to the next funding opportunity that comes out, as I said, is in July. It's the fiscal year 2022 opportunity. But go to the fiscal year 2021 funding opportunity. If you go to the funding opportunity page, click on FY 2021, and you can look at the topics document from the last cycle, and you can see the kind of topics that come out. Now, the topics will change. They will shift slightly. Some will go away. There'll be new ones, but some of them will be the same too. So you can get an idea about the areas in which we fund, and that can sort of help you get your wheels spinning, I think, about what you want to do. So I would do that now to get some idea about what you want to do, and then think about how you would actually progress. What's your work plan to get this done, to evaluate the feasibility of your idea? And that's when you decide if you need to work. Do you need to work with the university? Do they have, like a lab that you need to do some experiments? And then also you could go to the National Lab site. We have I mentioned that during my presentation, as you can look at the National Lab resources, and there's contact information. You can reach out to those people as well too, and talk to them about the type of technologies you're interested in working in, and maybe explore a technology transfer project with them as well. So as far as a work plan and who you need to work with and who you need to partner with, it depends on what your project needs in terms of establishing feasibility of your idea. So hopefully I answered your question.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Eileen. That was great.
Okay. With that, there are no further questions, and we are at time. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Vince Quarles to provide closing remarks. Vince?
All right, thank you so very much. And I have the honor now of giving our presenters a virtual hand clap and thank them for all of their insights and for joining us today. Once again, I want to thank our office team for helping us host today. But most of all, I want to thank all of you for joining us on the day. And the discussion shouldn't end here. We look forward to continuing conversations and providing the support that you can help support the Department of Energy. So please go to our website, Office of Minority Programs, and we look forward to continuing the dialogue and continuing support. Thank you all so very much, and take care.
That concludes today's webinar. Thank you for using AT&T Event Services. You may now disconnect.